Yes.
Yeah. I'm
My guy.
outside. I
I love
turned my I turned my Wi-Fi off and I just went with the signal. I went outside. I don't know if that's. Can
uh,
you hear me?
yeah,
Fine.
brother.
Okay.
You can hear me. Thank you, Dave. Sorry, brother. The
No, that's
advances
fine.
the advances in modern technology, brother. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Thank you so much, brother. It's so funny. I texted you last night and then I looked up and I was like, oh shit, Dave's on the screen with
Yeah,
PK, man. Let's get right into it, man. I mean,
sure.
I thought last night was I loved the way that they played. I mean, obviously you want to get better on the power play, but I mean, Dave, you look at the effort, you walk away, and I go, hey, you keep playing like that, you're going to come out with more wins than losses.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was a great game by them. You look at, the way the game started, the way that they finished, the push at the end. It's a post here or there. I think Coop said it best in his post game was like, hey, the effort is there. We're going to win a lot of games playing that way. So, obviously, a big game against Florida. It's hard to believe that you've won 8 in a row and you're still where you are, right? Like,
Right.
it's amazing. I guess there is some separation now between
Mm-hmm.
those three teams, and they're winning also. But
Right.
man, I think they're playing really good. I really do.
Dave, what do they got to do to correct this power play? Because one thing, and people ask me this all the time, and you would know it better than anybody. They've always been more puck movement than player movement, right? You don't see guys move. This isn't a Colorado or an Edmonton power play where guys are moving around like a carousel in the offensive zone. But what do they got to do to kind of recapture that magic that we've seen in years past, knowing that 91's not there in his usual office?
Yeah, and I think that was an adjustment at the beginning, right? And I think we all knew that was going to happen, but they still have been very good on it. And obviously, you've got one of the best players in the league that everything goes through him, right? Last night, they pressured a lot, right? And I think you're right. They probably needed a little bit more movement. Listen, there's 32 coaches in this league. They're pretty smart guys, right? And they're gonna figure it out, right? You're watching tape and you're not giving Cooch much time, right? They're pressuring, they're making him make a decision early, which normally he's pretty good at. Um, I don't think they need to change much. Sometimes it's just going back to the simple stuff at the beginning. Like, I know that I harp on this a lot, and you know, all of the Lightning fans probably know that I love when Victor Hedman shoots the puck. Right?
Right.
I love when or even if it's Darren Radish now. I think that shot from down the middle will open up so much more. I think, you get a puck retrieval after the shot. Now they're running around a little bit, and then Cooch can do his magic. So maybe it is make it a little simpler. They've had no problem with entries. Odd time faceoffs can be an issue, but that's been better lately. So I think that they're sitting in that room getting ready for tonight, and they're probably saying, we're not going to change much, right? Like it's going to happen for them. Get it simple. Go back to shooting the puck maybe a little bit early in the power play, and things will open up.
What do you think this team needs as we get closer and closer to the deadline? What does this Lightning team do? Because you know as well as I do. Julian always says I spend 365 days a year trying to improve this
Yeah.
team, not just the days around the trade deadline. But if you could go out and maybe not specific player, but if you could fortify an area for this team to get them ready for the postseason, where would it be, Dave?
Well, they're pretty solid everywhere, right? Like, yeah, sure, you could use a top six forward. Everybody can do that, or, another centerman maybe, but I don't think they need much. I think you're going to need a depth guy, was probably all they maybe, I don't want to say afford, but, what pieces do they have that they can give away? Yes, there's picks. What's in the minors that teams are interested in. I think that will probably be what they're going to end up doing is getting a depth guy. Will that guy help? Sure. I think they got obviously two solid lines.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the luxury of being able to put Nick Paul back on the third line. I think that's helped on their little bit of a run. So, yeah, you can get some depth scoring, but I think that's probably what they're going to be looking for. Will they get another defenseman
Mhm.
that's going to be a top four? That might be hard to do. So, but let's never doubt Julian, right? We've seen it in the past where he pulls some of these deadline deals out that have obviously worked out very well for them. So I think everybody is in the same situation. They're looking to improve their team. Yeah, there's some buyers, but I think there's more seller than buyers right now. Like, I think teams, because of the standings and
Right.
how close it is Detroit going to get rid of some packages? And they're right
Mhm.
there. Is Boston going to do that? I don't know if teams that are on the bubble right there are going to, start selling right away. So sellers are probably at a premium. There's more buyers than sellers at this deadline.
Yeah, it's a great point because you look at Montreal, they're a point out of the playoffs, right? They're on a 5-game winning streak, but it's just like, are they really in a position to think that they're going all in, right? It's tough, man. There's a lot of
Yeah.
teams in contention. I want to ask you about Connor Geeky. We haven't seen him. He got sent down. Do you think we'll see him again this year? And what did you make of his game as the year went on?
Well, he's always got talent, right? We see that right away. He's a big guy. He skates. He's got a good shot. He's got all the tools. I think he's just got to kind of figure out the NHL a little bit. The luxury is, he's on a very good team, right? He's not on
Right.
Chicago where they throw him to the Wolves right away and you're in. That's it. We're going to
Mhm.
go with you. So I think they've done the right thing. They've sent him down. Now, unfortunately, he has not played very well down there or as well
Right.
as expected. I really thought he would go down, be able to get his scoring touch back, and then they would bring him back up. I don't think we've seen the last of him this year. I think you might see him again, but he's played 9 games. He's got one goal only in the 9 games. He did get a nice goal the other night, a shootout goal to win the
Yeah, I
game
saw
for
that.
them. So that will bring some confidence back to him. So, but there's a future for this kid for sure. We see the talent, and hopefully, he finds it this year. And if not this year, they give him some time to develop and be an NHL player.
Dave, I don't know how much you've been keeping track of what's going on in Nashville, but I know it's tough because you and we spoke about him for many years. He was such a
Yeah.
big part with Steven Stamkos, and I exchanged messages with him a couple of weeks ago, and your heart goes out to the guy, man. Everything that could have gone wrong in Nashville has gone wrong. What does that tell you about this game? Because you go in the offseason, you're adding already with a team with Forsberg and O'Reilly and UC Saros and Roman Yossi. You bring in Marchessault and Shea and Stammer, and it just goes to hell in a handbasket. I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of moral of the story is that in the National Hockey League where you have winners, you bring them on an already good team, and then it just all falls apart?
Yeah, it's been unfortunate, and obviously, I'm assuming that I'm just like any other Lightning fan. I'm watching that team like
Right.
every day, right? I'm watching to see Stammer do, and I'm cheering. We're all cheering for him, right? Like for sure, right? So I am surprised, as you said, they added some pieces, but again, sometimes it's team chemistry, it's line combinations, it's familiarity with guys. That takes some time. I talk a lot about, our cup run, right? Our cup run
Mm-hmm.
didn't start in '04. It started in '02. They kept that group together. We built together. We've seen this current Lightning team, the same thing, right? Like it takes some time for them to understand what their roles are on the team, how they can be successful. So, in Nashville's case, it is a little mind boggling that with the talent they have there, they're not better than they are. And I think it's just a matter of time before they kind of put all the pieces together. And I'm really hoping so for Stammer's sake.
Before I let you go, Dave, what gives you hope and what gives you belief that this team is going to go on a long postseason run this year? Like, are they showing signs? Did this 8-game winning streak kind of peel back the curtain of like, hey, this is what this team is all about, or is the winning streak kind of I think certain winning streaks sometimes you hide maybe some of the warts of a team. I feel
Yeah.
like it was revealing in a good way where it was like, hey, they're focused defensively. Vazzy looks locked in. Are you on that same kind of wavelength of like, hey, I'm a lot more optimistic going forward because of what we just watched the last 2 weeks?
Well, let's remember back to January, right? It didn't go very well for them, right? And I think that they found something in their game. Now they were playing fairly well in January, and things weren't, they weren't getting the points. But what I think this is basically an eye opener for the whole league of this 8-game streak. The whole league has now looked at it like, oh boy, here we go again. 88 is on his game, and that can take you a long way. They have the talent up front, obviously, and now that they're defending very well, that's a tough combination for teams that are going to play against them in a 7-game series. Remember, this is not just one game, right? I always look at that, will this team lose in 7 games? Is Toronto better over a 7-game series? I don't think so. I don't think Florida is. Washington impressed me, but and I'm a firm believer, and I said it, probably even into January, that I still believe this team will end up first in the division. I think they're going to win some big games down the stretch. Vasi's going to play great, and they're going to peak at the right time. So the pieces are all there for another great run. And give credit to both, Coop and Julian and, the entire staff. Like, they've been competitive for quite a while in this cap era, right? Which is hard to do. You get some hometown discounts. You get guys that want to stay on. You make the right moves, and they're in the mix every year, and that's impressive to me. We watched Pittsburgh go through it,
Right.
Chicago go through it. It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to in this cap era to get everybody in the fold, get the right pieces, and they've done that again. So a competitive team again that it's got to be in the top 5 teams that have a chance to win, and that's exciting for all of us.
Dave, real quick, I got to ask you, Four Nations, man. I mean, it was such a
Yeah,
great thing, and I know you enjoyed it. It was just for
yeah,
a game that this is what your life has been, right? And I love it's my favorite sport to cover. It's my favorite sport to be around. Ever since I was a little kid, just loved it. To be able to watch it on national display and see 10 million people watch that, it was just insane, wasn't it?
it was incredible. It was way more than we all expected, I think, and obviously we saw the emotions from both teams, and not only Canada, but I don't know if you watched the Swedes-Finn game. I
Yeah,
mean, it was
amazing.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Now, you got the best talent in the league. Unfortunately, the Russians or Czechs are not there, but that's coming in the World Cup, right? 2028, the World Cup's coming back, so we're going to see that again. The Olympics are coming. We'll see that again. So, but man, what a week of hockey that was. And to be off too. We were off. I had my buddies up from up north. All my homeboys came down. We
Nice.
watched every game start to finish. It was incredible. Really, really exciting hockey. Great for the game. Great for the game of hockey. As you said, 10 million people. I got to believe that there's a lot of people that watched it and are now big fans of the sport, and which is awesome.
They hooked him, that's for sure.
Yes,
He's
sir.
Hockey Hall of Famer, Lightning legend, Dave Andreychuk, the Stanley Cup champion. Dave, we found a way, brother. We found a way. We got
did.
it done. I appreciate you, my man. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, anytime, Jay. Awesome.
Thanks, pal. He's the